everyone. You should have on Tuesday watched my video on simple and compound sentences. We talked about simple sentences are ones with just one noun, one verb, and it just has one thought, one idea, right? And then we talked about compound sentences, and we're going to continue talking about a little bit of that today, especially how to put a compound sentence together. But first, if you did not watch Conjunction Junction, I posted it with this video. I want you to pause this video right now, pause it, and go back and watch that. I want you to watch that first, okay? Just to give you an idea of what conjunctions are. Kind of like, in class when I would start class with a video, that's what I'm kind of wanting you to do this time. So I want you to watch that first before you watch this video, okay? So if you haven't done that, hit pause, go back and watch it, and then come back to me. Okay, so hopefully by now you've watched Conjunction Junction, one of my favorite Schoolhouse Rock videos. So that's what we're going to focus on today is conjunctions. So if you remember, we talked about how a compound sentence is made up of two simple sentences put together. And if you remember in my last video, I said how the conjunction is kind of like the plus sign. Like when we write out a number problem, we write 5 plus 6. We have 5 and then we have 6 and we're trying to put them together. The conjunction is like that plus sign. You have to have it in your sentences. So this is a really important thing that I want you to practice this week, okay? And writing compound sentences, and next week when we start talking about complex sentences, those are really important things for you to put in your writing. Now, do not go through and write every single sentence has to be a compound sentence. No, but you should have some sprinkled out throughout your writing, okay? So one here and there, okay? So conjunctions are, like I said, is the word that you put in the middle to connect the two sentences together. Before your conjunction, you need to have a comma, okay? And we're going to do more with commas in the coming weeks. Probably, I think in May, we're going to work on some comma stuff. But just know that when you write your compound sentences, you have to have a comma before your conjunction. And with your assignment this week, I'm going to be looking for the comma and the conjunction both, okay? So, here are the conjunctions. There are a bunch more conjunctions. We're just going to focus on 4 today. We will probably do more next week when we start talking about complex sentences, but this week we're just going to worry about these 4. So the first one is and. When you use the word and, you're joining two similar ideas, okay? So I went to the store and I went to the library. Those are two places that I went to, so they're similar, right? So I could use the word and. The word but joins two different ideas. So if I said, I was going to go to the store, but I decided to stay home. See how they're different? Originally I thought I was going to go to the store, but instead I decided to stay home. So I changed my mind, which shows that they're different ideas. Or joins two possible ideas. I could go to the store, or I could go to the library, right? Those are two different ideas, okay? It shows kind of like a choice, that you have a choice to make, and you're trying to decide between one or the other, but you can't have both. If you have both, you would use and. So, and I talked about this in the last video, it's kind of like you're using the word so when you're having like a cause and effect, kind of like two sentences that maybe one's the cause and the other is the effect. So shows that the second idea happens because of the first. So the first sentence happens and then the second sentence, and the second sentence can only happen if the first sentence happens first, okay? So the thinking question I want you to think about is which kinds of ideas are being joined? Back to so real quick, let me give you an example of that. There was no toilet paper at Meijer's, so I went to Kroger to buy toilet paper, right? So the first sentence has, I looked at Meijer's, it wasn't there, so I had to go to Kroger and look there, okay? So that would be an example of using the word so. So let's look, I want to give you an example down here. And if you're having trouble with this, please come see me during my office hours, and I can give you plenty more examples. So if you're having trouble with it, please come see me during my office hours. They are at 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock every day except for Friday. Okay, so do not hesitate to come see me during my office hours. They're using the app Zoom, or you can do it on in your browser, and all that information is on our classroom page under the stream area. Okay, so here's an example though. Tessa read a new book. She did not like it. Now here's the tricky part about conjunctions. Sometimes there is more than one that makes sense. Now usually with conjunctions there's one that's the best choice, right? But sometimes more than one can kind of sound okay. Let's look at this. Tessa read a new book. Let's try it with and. Tessa read a new book and she did not like it. Does that work? That works, right? Those two things are kind of together, but they're not necessarily the exact same idea. Although they have to do with a book, they're not exactly the same. So yes, you could use and. Is it the best choice? No, it's not the best choice. Let's try but. Tessa read a new book, but she did not like it. Joins two different ideas. Now I know this is tricky because it kind of sounds like they should be the same idea because they're both talking about the book she read, but she read it, then she didn't like it, okay? So it's kind of showing too how her mind changed because of it, okay? Or joins two possible ideas. Tessa read a new book or she did not like it. That doesn't make any sense at all, or would not work in that at all, okay? So Tessa read a new book so she did not like it. Still, that doesn't really work because she could read a new book and she might like it, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's not a direct link between the two. That one's a little bit tricky, but just as if you read it too, it doesn't really sound right. So for this one, I think the best choice would be to use but. Tessa read a new book, but she did not like it. Okay? So again, writing with conjunctions and figuring out which one to use can be a little bit confusing. Please don't hesitate to reach me during my office hours, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. We can go over more examples, any of that stuff. Okay? Hope this makes sense. If you're still a little bit confused, see me during my office hours or watch the video again. And for your assignment this week, you will take two sentences and put them together into one compound sentence. Okay, so if you have trouble with that, just come see me. Okay, have a great day. And also, real quick, before I end this video, make sure you're trying to use these in your writing. I hope that, I'm going to talk to Mrs. Ziegler, but I hope that you'll try using at least once, try just doing one sentence with that's compound in your writing this week, because that's the goal, is that you would be writing with these types of sentences also. Okay, have a great week, guys. I can't wait to see you next week. Bye.